Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hobart begins now.
Back home now, where a new year of Parliament is on the horizon and both major parties are planning a big agenda. But with another ministerial reshuffle to take place tomorrow, the attention could instead turn to the Premier's cabinet chaos.
Days after his cabinet was derailed, Peter Gutwein has turned his attention to winning the seat of Huon.
I'm looking forward to giving the people of Huon a choice.
The May by-election, triggered by Bastian Seidel's departure, he dramatically quit politics, calling out a toxic culture within the Labor Party.
The reason that we are standing here today is because they are a party in chaos, because Dr Bastian Seidel named it up, called it out for what it was, that they were bullies and that their party was in chaos.
Beck White wasn't mincing her words either, as her party pursues answers from the Premier about a perceived conflict of interest surrounding his former minister, Jane Howlett.
Either he is deliberately ignorant or he has chosen for political purposes to pretend that he doesn't know about this to protect his government's interests, and that is not in the public's interest.
Labor have nothing better to do than muckrake.
As the parliamentary year draws closer, Labor has its eyes on progressing donation disclosure reforms. It will need to work closely with ousted member David O'Byrne to get legislation through the House. The government remains focused on delivering its election commitments, with a climate change action bill and container deposit scheme to be finalised.
There's plenty of legislation in the pipeline, but our focus for the next fortnight will be on the State of the State address and allowing all MPs to respond to that.
The Premier has a few choices among his lower and upper house colleagues to take over Jane Howlett's portfolios, and Peter Gutwein will make an announcement about his newest cabinet member tomorrow. With 5 portfolios up for grabs, whoever is chosen will have a tough task ahead. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania has recorded a drop in COVID cases overnight, with 676 new infections, down from 792 yesterday. There have been no new deaths. 9 people remain in hospital with the virus, while no one is receiving treatment in ICU. Thousands of runners have laced up the sneakers and clocked up the kilometres for the $6,000 Run the Bridge race this morning. Tokyo Olympians made the trip and came out triumphant, crossing the Tasman Bridge in a competitive fashion.
1, 2.
And boom, straight underway there.
Pounding the pavement for a once-a-year opportunity to run across an iconic piece of Tasmanian infrastructure.
The only other time that the bridge has been shut in my lifetime, I believe, is when Xi Jinping crossed it in 2014.
Tokyo Olympian Rose Davies was the one to beat in the female category, coming off back-to-back Zatopek race wins, out in front for most of the distance.
I really enjoy this race. It's my first time doing it and I love running the roads, and the atmosphere was so good.
Fellow Olympian Brett Robinson was the hot favourite among the men's field, showing good pace in the crucial moments.
Robbo will take the men's win.
It's a pretty cool feeling when you're going up and you can't see anyone, it's just you on the bridge. It's pretty special.
The final seconds of the 10-kilometre Run the Bridge event saw Rose and Brett jostle to the finish line.
You have never, ever seen that before.
With the girls getting the head start, it kind of makes it very even. Me and Rose and Charlotte Purdue pretty much in the last 100 all sprinting for the win, so you don't usually get that.
I think in the last K I thought, oh no, I'm done here. And I sort of found a little bit to go with 500 to go, so I just thought I'm going to sprint to the line.
Plenty of Tasmanian talent were also chasing the big prize purse, Launceston star Millie Clark among them.
This event, we've got 6 Olympians today. 5 of them competed in Tokyo, and Millie as well, who competed in Rio.
The 13th edition deemed a success.
It's a quick race, it's a fast race, it's a rich race, and people really want to win it.
Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
A man in chronic pain says he has now been waiting more than 450 days for elective surgery. Justin Harding finds it hard to move since developing osteoarthritis in 2020. He says the agonising wait for a knee replacement sometimes leaves him bedbound for days.
The pain is intolerable, and it diminishes your sense of self-worth. The government's had 8 years to address elective surgery waiting list in this state.
What we need to do is get the number down. It's clearly too high. It's high because of COVID, no other reason.
Just over 10,000 Tasmanians are waiting for elective surgery. The latest figure is up on last month, but down from 12 months ago. From trash to treasure, a state government-backed program recycling rubber from old truck tyres will be expanded. The waste is processed and blended with bitumen to become asphalt to help maintain Tasmania's roads. It's hoped to cut the 1.3 million tyres that end up in landfill each year.
So the crumb rubber blended binder provides a longer lasting road through a slower oxidisation rate, equaling a longer lasting road.
The state government is moving towards establishing a crumbling plant in Tasmania to undertake the entire process locally. It might be time to grab some peanuts and head back to the theatre to see You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, the Launceston Musical Society's first show in more than 2 years. The relatable and feel-good storyline has been a hit for generations. Well, it's also a feel-good moment for the actors who are finally reviving their talent.
I think it's something that you never forget. So once you learn it, you know, you've got it for your life.
We all experienced the same hardships over the last couple of years, so it's been great that we've been able to rally together and being able to now produce stuff like this again.
Opening night at the Earl Arts Centre is Tuesday.
The Jack Jumpers' top 4 hopes have copped a bullet after going down to Brisbane 94-86. Defence was lacking according to the coach, but Scott Roth is praising the team's grit when a Bullets blowout was looming.
When the Bullets blundered, they were made to pay.
There's a poor pass by Patterson. Kristovic picked it off, had trouble reeling it back in, but got it to a good man, and Majet fills up the triple.
The Jack Jumpers could still reach the hoop from the three-point line, but this wasn't the shooting epic we saw against Illawarra. Instead, it was a gritty fight as the sides went blow for blow. Tasmania's defences finally collapsed on the cusp of the main break. Brisbane's 9 unanswered points had Scott Roth screaming for timeout.
J.E., you're on the nail.
The nails were being driven into the coffin as Brisbane powered ahead. The Jack Jumpers fought back late, reducing the margin to 6 when Josh Majet went coast to coast.
Majet for the answering triple.
Josh Adams made Nathan Sobey's 24 hours even worse, capping off a frustrating night in the humid heat.
It was just, you know, breakdowns and things that are correctable, which is really good.
The expensive seats had a good look at Clint Steindl in the dying moments, the scrap to the end earning plaudits.
It was very good for us, to be honest with you, to be on the road and be down and see what kind of grit we had and fight.
Our defence picked up in that second half and, we had that good stretch where we got 3 or 4 stops in a row.
The side is back in Hobart tomorrow night to take on Perth. Also overnight, an inspired Bendigo spirit squashed the Southside Flyers at MyState Bank Arena. And Ellie Maley had the biggest spark in Hobart, sinking 26 points in the first half.
Here's Maley, floater, great.
She finished with 35, Bendigo winning 96-80.
Sydney FC has shown why it's the reigning Women's A-League champion in Launceston. Rain bucketed down at half-time as Sydney sought to extend its lead over Perth Glory. The contest was all but over within the hour.
Looks up and faces Delahav and then just drops the shoulder. Princess Abini. Vine makes ground. Courtney Vine makes it 3-0.
18 Keane salvaged a goal for the Glory in the dying stages. Tonight's men's game between Perth and Western United has just kicked off. Tasmanian Jed Beaton has made his motocross GP debut in Europe. Beaton qualified 9th for the series opener in the UK. Riding for Team F&H Racing on a Kawasaki, Beaton has stepped up from the 250 to the more powerful 450 class and says he's loving the bigger bike.
I stayed on the 250 until I aged out and I've made the transition now. Obviously it's a completely different bike and it takes a lot to get used to, but I feel more comfortable for sure on the 450. It suits my style a little bit better.
His MXGP debut was postponed to this weekend after wild storms lashed the UK last week. The main race is on tonight. Competitive diving has bounced back to Hobart after a 4-year hiatus. Diving Tasmania headed up the event, which saw 26 athletes turn out to showcase their talent. Head coach Jesse Carver is behind the push, wanting to attract newcomers to the pool.
We've grown to about 115 of Diving Tasmania members, which is almost 400% of what it was before. which is fantastic, and it still is growing throughout the term.
With a positive community response so far and classes nearly booked out, the group hopes the diving resurgence will only continue.
Good evening everyone. Launceston saw the state's top today of 25 degrees, 24 in Devonport, Burnie 23 and 18 in Hobart. Across the state, Cressy, Smithton and Flinders Island also reached that top of 25, King Island and Strahan 23, 22 in Low Head, St Helens and Friendly Beaches, Grove 21 and 17 in Lyowini. Mid to low level cloud covered much of Tasmania throughout the day today. And across Australia, a band of mid to high level cloud crossed Victoria and southern South Australia, while cloud with embedded thunderstorms sat over much of the east of the country. Tomorrow, a high pressure system can be seen to the south of Tasmania. Several troughs can be seen over the mainland, while a low pressure system develops about the coast of New South Wales. Northeast to southeasterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, lighter about the west, with seas up to 2 metres. And there is a minor flood warning for the South Esk River and a flood watch for the north and upper east coast. 22 in Hobart tomorrow, showers developing, and 23 in Dover, ooze 24. Launceston Humid and 26, 23 in Devonport and Scottsdale. A top of 23 degrees in Burnie tomorrow, possible showers, and 26 in Strahan, Stanley 25. And possible heavy falls, and 21 in St Helens, and Swansea and Ross both 22. And the UV tomorrow is very high 8s across the state, with sunrise expected at 6:50 a.m. On Tuesday, rain about the east, extending across the remainder of the state during the day. Mainly fine in the west on Wednesday, however showers elsewhere. And on Thursday, similar weather continuing, with increased humidity about the north, west and southeast. 36 in Perth tomorrow, Adelaide 27, showers in Canberra and Sydney, 29 in Brisbane and 31 degrees and storms in Darwin. And it's currently cloudy right across the state, with Hobart 18 degrees, 19 in Launceston and Devonport 21, and that's Sunday night's weather, Lou.
All right, thank you for that, Chelsea. And that's all your news for now. We hope you have a lovely Sunday evening. Thanks for joining us. Good night.